Hello and welcome to Scary Movie in a Sandwich, a show all about cozy foods and creepy stuff. I'm your host, Artem Yatsanov. Welcome to the show. On this show every week, my guests and I pair a perfectly curated sandwich with a unique horror movie, and we digest, dive deep, and pick apart the layers of the movie and the sandwich. This week, we got a stellar, outstanding, all-star guest, India. She is an actress, a comedian, a writer, a painter. You could follow her on Instagram at indialikethecountryy with 2 Y's. Is that the most incredible Instagram handle you've ever heard of? India like the country, and there's a Y, an additional Y at the end. So like country with a Y, because India like the country was already taken. I feel like this is a level up. India like the country with 2 Y's on Instagram. She is fantastic, an amazing person. All of her work is really, really great. Get in touch with her, stay in touch with her. I had a beautiful conversation. India, thank you so much for being on the show. You were a blast. And thank you, India, for bringing the sandwich and this movie into my life. Folks, it's a fantastic pairing today. And I want to just give a quick shout out to Besties Vegan Paradise, an amazing bodega, convenience store, kind of like corner grocery store. Everything in the store vegan. Desserts, cold cuts, lamb shanks, steaks, just like takes on all kinds of foods you would find at like your typical grocery store. And the whole place even looks like a cute, like typical, like New York, Los Angeles bodega, and just like, oh, I gotta grab some milk, I gotta grab a couple of dessert things, I got some friends coming over. Everything vegan. It's incredible. Besties Vegan Paradise. It's just like right nestled between like Little Armenia and Silver Lake and Los Feliz in Los Angeles. So, Besties Vegan Paradise, thank you so much. Also, before we get going, I just want to thank my crew, as always, my horror correspondent, Antonio Lassar. Thank you for your flawless reporting, your diligence to your duties as a in-the-field reporter, really getting the scoop of all the synopsises of the horror movies. Luther Thompson for your outstanding, incredible, impeccable, impeachable, original artwork. Lastly, our music today is brought to you by the band Liberty. Thank you so much. Folks, I'm so stoked for you to join us today. Thank you for being here. Welcome to Scary Movie in a Sandwich, a show for anyone who's ever been afraid or hungry. Enjoy. Welcome to Scary Movie and a Sandwich. This is your easy listening and easy viewing podcast and vodcast about all things scary and all things tasty. I'm your host, Artem Yatsanov. Welcome to the show. Today on the show with me is an incredible guest. Outstanding. Folks, I have with me an actor, a writer, painter, a prestige email appreciator, a carpenter of sorts, a mender, and, of course, a self-proclaimed royal of a line of empresses and kings and tsars. Folks, with me today in the Scary Studio, it's India.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
We are not working.
I know. I said that to myself on the way here.
Wow. We're so thankful that you found time
in my busy
glorious schedule.
So glorious. No, I'm very happy to be doing this.
I'm so excited you're here.
So excited.
And thank you so much for bringing this movie today and this sandwich today into my life.
Thank you for thanking me.
I'm so happy to thank you. How are you?
I'm so good. What's it like being you, though?
Wow.
That's what we want to hear.
You know, I'm feeling warm. Warm. Inside is a like spiritual warmth, emotional warmth.
Oh, that's hot topic. Hot sauce.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's gonna be a hot show today, folks.
It's gonna be a hot show.
It's gonna be a hot show.
Super hot.
Super hot. Hot fire. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, on this show, my guest will pick a unique sandwich, and then we will pair that sandwich with a very unique horror movie. On today's episode, we had kind of a bit of a synergetic brainstorm. You know, we were not sure about the sandwich first, but we had a great suggestion of a movie that India brought. And so after we mulled it around, we had a really interesting pairing.
So interesting
that we were just doing some research and realizing, like, oh boy, this might be a bit of a oof. Okay, so just heads up, trigger warning, potentially references to euphemisms. Yes. Okay, wow, this both just got very dramatic and suspenseful.
I think that
I'm sweating.
I think they're scared already.
I think I just canceled myself. India, without further ado, can you introduce to us the movie and the sandwich?
I would love to.
Okay.
The movie is called Wrong Turn. I'm sure everyone's heard about this. It's from 2003, one of the best years for film.
Great year.
It is about a family of cannibalistic woodsmen and a pack of young adults who I don't know if I should call them pack. Yeah, in scary movies, young adults always travel in packs.
That's right.
It's
Yeah.
rule number one of scary movies. Yeah, so it's about a group of friends. It's always friends who are in the woods. It's always woods, and they are picked off. Spoiler alert! One by one by these bloodthirsty mountain men.
Mountain peoples.
Mountain peoples.
That's right. They sure are.
Yeah, they are. And the sandwich, we've decided to change the name because it's not cute. The name's not cute. So we're going to call it what do we decide?
Let's go with
the Mountain Man Philly.
The Mountain Man Philly.
Mountain Man Philly.
Oh, I love that.
That's good.
Oh, things are good. That's better. God, that's much better branding.
That's good. That's good.
Somebody just should have just taken a couple of
Mountain Man
seconds.
Philly.
They needed us.
Woo!
Wow.
All right. Let's do this.
The reason we wanted to change it, because this originally is called a term that is referred to people who live, particularly in the Appalachian region, in the rural woods, and there's a certain term that is less than polite, and that's what this sandwich is typically called, but I think it needs a little branding brush up. Mountain Man Philly.
Mountain Man Philly. Mountain Man Philly it is.
It sounds good. It's like, I'll have that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll have that. That's a great way to introduce it. I'm glad that we're like,
We're on the
right
same
from
page.
the top,
Yeah.
we're like, look, let's
It could go a different way.
yeah,
but,
let's polish this up a bit. So, some folks out there have never seen the movie Wrong Turn from 2003.
It's crazy.
I agree. One of the best years to be alive, to be watching movies.
Honestly.
To be making, that's right.
Come on.
Wow.
If we're born after, sorry.
Tough. If you've not seen this absolute tried and true groundbreaking film, we have for you an all original synopsis for Wrong Turn 2003 right now. Enjoy. Welcome to the synopsis section of the show. Today with us is a very special horror correspondent. She is a world famous comedian, record breaking hiker. She is a writer, performer, sketch comedian, stand-up comedian, comedy, love of my life. She's perfect. She's brilliant. It's Antonia Lassar. Besides being a perfect human being, Antonia is also an avid hater of the horror movie genre. Antonia has not seen Wrong Turn. She's not read the synopsis of the movie Wrong Turn, so you are getting a purely objective synopsis of Wrong Turn. Folks, I'm so thrilled. Without further ado, please welcome Antonia Lassar.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Antonia, the best part of the episode. I'm here to tell you about some stupid, scary movie that I'm never gonna watch. So let's get into it. Mwah. Love ya. Okay, Wrong Turn. I'm glad we both agree this movie is wrong. Wrong Turn follows Chris Flynn, a medical student, we love those, driving through the backwoods of West Virginia, we love those, when a traffic jam forces him to take a detour onto a remote forested road. I hate it already. Along the way, he crashes into an abandoned SUV belonging to a group of friends, Jesse, Carly, Scott, Evan, and Francine. The five amigos, who are stranded due to barbed wire deliberately placed on the road. Oh my God. I hate this. Why? Ugh. Okay, if I was him, I'd pick these people up, be like, it looks like someone is trying to for sure murder you. Get into my car. Let's drive back the way I came. Like, what is wrong with these people?
He crashed the car. Now their car is...
He crashed into their car.
So they're both like carless.
I'm exhausted. Oh God. The group sets out on foot. Jesus. To find help, only to discover they're being hunted by oh my God. They're being hunted by a family of deformed, cannibalistic mountain men. Oh my God.
Pretty good.
This is a nightmare. This is actually like for sure I've had this nightmare. And their names are Three Fingers, Sawtooth, and One Eye. Oh my God. And they just call each other like, hey, come here, Sawtooth.
No, actually, they don't. There's no way for anybody to know that that's their names unless you like went into like the IMDb.
Really?
Yeah, and India and I it gave them different names. So anyways, but I just figured To keep it factual.
Yeah, let's keep it factual. Let's use their Christian names. So they're named Three Fingers, Sawtooth, and One Eye. Beautiful cultural names. Who have been living in the woods for generations and hunt anyone unfortunate enough to cross their path. I hate this so much. End the movie now. I know what's gonna happen. They're gonna get eaten. They're all gonna get eaten. Oh God. As the group ventures deeper into the woods, they are picked off one by one in increasingly brutal ways. Wow, I'm shocked. Tensions rise between the survivors as they try to outwit the killers while navigating dense, hostile wilderness. I hate dense, hostile wilderness. I hate it. Don't ever take me to dense, hostile wilderness.
Noted.
Chris and Jesse quickly become, this is like why as soon as I go camping in the woods, as soon as it's after dark, I refuse to leave the tent.
Smart.
I don't want...
You make all the right turns.
That's exactly, these are the wrong turns. Chris and Jesse quickly become the de facto leaders of the group, struggling to keep everyone together. The killers, Three Fingers, Sawtooth, and One Eye, however, use their experience with the territory and the terrain to ambush and kill. Fantastic. We love skilled craftspeople. Are they ultralight backpackers? In one particularly gruesome scene, Carly's boyfriend Scott, while running from the cannibals in an attempt to mislead them, is mercilessly shot through the chest with multiple arrows. Helpless and unable to escape, Scott is then brutally dismembered, his body graphically torn apart by the cannibals. Can I go home?
You are.
I don't feel safe here anymore. Oh, this is so bad. The survivors, led by Chris and Jesse, attempt to evade the pursuing mountain men by climbing into the treetops. Oh, okay. I like that plan. Scrambling among the branches desperately. But I feel like they're scrambling. It's like you got to climb up there and just stop. Just shut up.
That's a good point.
That's not what they do. Another wrong turn. Branches snap and leaves rustle as they move with urgency. See, that's what I'm saying. You got to be quiet. I would have done better. No, I wouldn't have. You know what I would have done? I would have been like, just do it. Eat me right now. Eat me. I'm not going to make it. I don't want to make it. Eat me. These idiots. But the mountain men, with their intimate knowledge of the forest, launch themselves up the trees, very parkour, creating a deadly game of cat and mouse. As the killers reach for them, the group risks their lives by jumping from branch to branch, evading the grasp of the monstrous cannibals below. They have enough agility, gymnastics training.
Well, it's very dense. The trees are close to each other.
So right, a dense and hostile forest. Okay, dense. The tension escalates when Scott loses his footing, plummeting from the tree with a scream and lands with a sickening thud, leaving the others to fend for themselves as the mountain men zero in on their location. What is these mountain men's problem? One of these guys is already dead, so why can't they just be like, you know what? This is perfect. Fresh filet. He's ready. Tartar. He's gonna go bad if they just leave him there. Are these people who are hunting these people for food, you think, or because they just like hunting people?
Both.
Okay. Oh, great. Well, that really puts me at ease. Now I feel so much better. In the climactic ending, Chris and Jesse manage to find temporary safety in an old observation tower, but are forced to flee when the cannibals set the structure on fire. These cannibals are smart. Look, they're skillful practitioners. The chase leads them to the mountain men's cabin, where they narrowly escape being slaughtered. Oh, good for them. Good for them. After a final confrontation, Chris is able to kill the remaining cannibals by blowing up the cabin with a gas tank. Nice. He and Jesse barely escape with their lives, and in the final scene, they leave the woods, bloodied, traumatized, but alive. However, a post-credit sequence reveals that Three Finger, one of the cannibals, that's right, a direct descendant of the Finger lineage, Three Finger survived, leaving the door open for the terror to continue. I smell a sequel.
Many turns.
Many turns. A lot of turns. Wow, I hate this. This was terrible.
Is this the worst yet?
Yes.
Why?
This is just truly, I have nightmares that look exactly like this. I'm still, even as an adult, a prolific nightmare haver, and they look just like this. Dense, hostile woods, cannibals, chasing. Oh shit, I'm gonna fall off the tree branches. I don't have enough upper body strength to climb the tree branches. Tension. And just reading this, I know that it's tension the entire time.
Oh yeah.
I actually just don't understand why anyone would find this fun to watch. It sounds bad.
That's awesome. I think it's awesome.
I hate this. I hate you. No. You people you're misled. You've taken so many wrong turns. I guess stick around for the rest of the episode. It can only go downhill from here. Am I right? See you in the next episode. Love you. Mwah.
Whoa. Pretty synopsis.
Crazy synopsis.
Whoa. Crushed it.
Crunched it.
And for those of you who've never tried the Mountain Man Philly sandwich, India, let's give a little sandwich synopsis, if you will.
Let's tell the people what they want.
Okay.
A recipe. You might already have this stuff in your fridge.
That's
or
right.
your cabinet.
It's very
Because some of these
accessible.
things should probably not be in your fridge. Like
You don't need to refrigerate them.
you don't. Like, well, I'll get to the secret ingredient later. We have bun. All right? We have bologna.
Go on.
Vegan or animal bologna. We have mayo. You
get
guys.
on there.
We have mustard.
Ooh.
And the piece de résistance, as the French say, is the potato chip.
Ugh.
Yeah.
That truly puts it over the edge.
Ridiculous.
I mean, I could not believe it.
No, I was not expecting it to be so good.
Already.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the highlights for me. I think the mustard mayo combo is always, I think, a good way to go. You got the creamy from the mayo, and then you've got that nice tang, that little zing in your tongue from mustard, and I think that just like soaks it into the bread. And we did something very smart. We really did the Philly route, so we fried it up.
We chopped that boy up.
We chopped that boy up. And when that like touches the bun and gets on the mayo and the mayo gets like melty, oof, that's where real chemistry happens.
It's magical, right?
Magical, actually.
It's
Magical chemistry.
Magical chemistry.
It's salty. It's savory.
Salty.
It's got a little zing. It's also very satisfying because I think because it's like fatty and it's got that like mayo situation. I just found it to be like such an easy sandwich to eat. Like it just felt so like exciting.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's exciting too. I mean, especially where we live, I feel like we get kind of used to like super curated, like gourmet-ish. I know, first world problems, but you know, like foods that are just I don't know. This one just made me think of home, and it was just comfortable. Like it was just really I don't know. It was a good surprise. Yeah, I liked it.
And I think those potato chips are like. They really were like, whoa, what is this exotic garnish? Like, oh my god.
Stop.
For me.
Are you a chip? That's crazy.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Give him a crunch. That was pretty good. That was good. That was layered. It was like you thought the crunch was gonna end, but then it didn't.
And it kept going.
It kept going.
So nice. And like my potato chips were like they got partially soggy, so they like already added to the flavor with the seasoning and stuff. Because I did a mix of barbecue and classic.
You did. You little snake.
And then I did a little move that you introduced, which was the hot sauce.
Oh my gosh. Yep.
The hot sauce is really good. I would put hot sauce on everything.
Everything.
I'd like a little zing, a little challenge.
It belongs everywhere. It does.
I love sandwiches like this. I like a ham and cheese. I like a tuna melt. You know, I like a grilled cheese. I like a peanut butter and jelly. Like, I like these sandwiches that, like, you could probably get these ingredients. This kind of relates to the movie, too. You could get these ingredients, like, at a gas station. Like, you don't have to go far to get these ingredients. And then for me, I always think about these sandwiches in terms of, like, you know, like, access to food, access to deliciousness, you know. And when you don't have a lot of, like, quote-unquote, as you said, like, very refined, like, ooh, exciting, expensive, high-end, like, ingredients, like, how do you make what you have, like, you know,
like how do you make it work?
How do you make it so that all the kids are happy and nobody's complaining, you know? Like, there is something about, like, you put a little hot sauce on it, and it's just, like, changing a lot about what's happening with the flavor, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I don't know. It's a really exciting sandwich to me. I kind of miss, like, doing... It just reminded me of, like, simple life. You know? Like a quiet, calm, simple life, easy sandwich to make. Like, I don't know. I miss that sort of thing. Like, living where we are, like... I miss going to places like Chili's and Applebee's and things like that. And you know what I mean?
For
and
sure.
this was like the Denny's of like of sandwiches.
Yeah.
You know? No
Totally.
shade to Denny's.
Like
just like the
something about
simplicity.
The simplicity of it, you know, the little things being elevated a little bit.
Yeah.
So there you go. So
There's a scary movie part.
Yes. So this is the Mountain Man Philly, and I'll include the ingredients in the show notes so everybody can try this at home. And this was one of these where we made it ourselves. Well, now we know a lot about Wrong Turn, and we know a lot about how the Mountain Man Philly is made. I think it's time for us to really get into it, to talk about how this sandwich really gets along.
Let's do it.
Yes.
Yes.
With this movie.
The moment.
This is the Scary Movie and a Sandwich trademark Tasty Chats. Indy, I'm so delighted to have you here. Let's get into it. First question for you. How did this movie come into your life?
I don't remember exactly, but I think I prayed for something really good to happen to me, and next thing I know, it just turned on one day. No, I actually wasn't really allowed to watch scary movies or anything like that, but I had a cousin.
Okay.
I had a cousin who was. So anything bad that I ever did or wrong that I ever did happened at her house. And Wrong Turn was one of those. It was her. It was her. But yeah, I think she was able to watch stuff like that. So she had it on and we watched it. And that's how I was introduced to one of the only scary movies that I've ever seen. One of maybe 3 max.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And what's your relationship? Well, so that's kind of funny. So what is your relationship with scary movies? This is just not a genre you go towards.
No, I'm a huge chicken. I'm scared. I'm a chicken boy. It's giving anxiety. But you know what? It's actually interesting that I read that people who are a little bit more anxious actually feel balanced when they're watching scary movies. I don't remember the science behind it, but fun fact. But no, I'm not really a scary movie person because I think I'm really impressionable and these things will like stick with me. And yeah. Mm-hmm. So they stick with me and I'll dream about them for like months.
Wow.
And that's not ideal.
Yeah.
It's really not, you know?
Have you always been that way, that you're like strong experiences imprint on you like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's giving trauma, man. But that's a story for another show. Scary movie, my life. No, I'm kidding.
Nothing scarier.
Yeah, nothing scarier. But no, I would like any kind of movie. Like, I don't know. I love movies, and they really do just stick with me. So I prefer to like stay away from the ones that are scary because I don't want to be terrified all the time. You know, waking nightmares, not my jam.
It's so funny. I was just telling somebody on the show about how much I randomly walking in on like Nightmare on Elm Street movie, like really messed with me when I was like 8 or 9 because I literally kept seeing him in my dreams, you know. And it's funny because I didn't get back into horror movies like 4 or 5 years ago. That I got really fascinated with them again. And the thing that pulled me towards it was like the most random thing is like, I'm a director, I'm an actor, and I've done a lot of theater, and I'm kind of like transitioning my career from theater to like exploring new avenues of performing art. And I was fascinated with how do you make people actually feel scared in an audience when you don't have the artifice of these like special effects and this and that, blah blah, you know. And it just made me sort of like, okay, let me explore how they do it in horror movies. And I just was so fascinated with horror movies in that they're able to have this live connection with you. You know, because a lot of times when I watch a horror movie, I experience it. The story might not even have much to, you know, like, I mean, this movie, right? A couple of cars got broken down, and then they had to escape some cannibals. Some people made it, some people didn't. End of story, you know?
Yep.
But the experience within it is like very like, you know, pulse pounding, stuff like that. And so I always found the live element of watching a horror movie, this experience, would really kind of make me ask the question like, why am I scared of this? And then I started really getting into, okay, so what are the things that scare me in life? You know, what am I afraid of? You know, that's like where watching the horror movies became like this like deeper thing where I was like, all right, this is connected to something for me personally. So that's why I'm always kind of curious about how people really relate to or don't relate to horror movies, because I'm a pretty anxious dude. But what you just said, I was like, yeah, I kind of want to watch horror movies. I'm like, I know I'm going to make it out of here alive. I'm going to be fine.
I like that question you ask yourself, like, why am I afraid of this? I think, like, for me, the ones that are, like, murder and chopping up and the gruesome ones, I'm like, whatever. But the ones that are like exorcism, demons, spirits, I can't do those.
Same. Those are the scariest ones for me.
Yeah.
What is that about?
I don't know. It's like almost like it's like the spiritual ones are deeper and more real. Like they're more realistic. It almost feels like it's more realistic to have like a spiritual attack than a physical attack.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's like something that's realistic. You're like, it wouldn't look like that. It wouldn't happen like this. I would never be in this situation. Whereas when it's something supernatural, something that's fantastical, your imagination just goes wild. You don't have a real frame of reference for something like a ghost, right? Maybe the imagination ends up being stronger than your actual like sense of reality, you know?
Yeah. It also might be a control thing too. Like if you're in a situation where you're like in the woods, you're clearly like, you know, you're gonna scream at a scary movie when someone does something stupid. You're like, yeah, I would never pick that as a weapon. But like you're like participating, like you could see yourself participating in it. But like when it's like a spiritual, mental one, it feels like I don't have control over this thing that's like seeping into my mind. Like that could be it. Ooh, I don't like it. I don't like it.
Well, you know, speaking of a movie and a sandwich that are steeped totally in reality.
Oh yeah.
Let's pivot to the sandwich for a second. So this sandwich came to you very recently.
It did.
But this sandwich is, as you mentioned earlier, very reminiscent of a simpler time. Like, what's a sandwich that to you is could be like a spiritual relative of this sandwich? You know, like what's in this category of the Mountain Man Philly for you?
I think we spoke about this earlier. Like my go-to growing up was like grilled cheese dipped in syrup. I don't know why. It's just I've never heard of anyone else doing it. Just in my household, we grew up in grilled cheese.
It sounds literally brilliant.
It's so good. And I think that'd be a similar sandwich. It's like 3 ingredients. That's it. You need something quick. You don't have much food in your fridge. Like you probably have bread and cheese.
Yeah.
Hopefully. But yeah, I think that could probably be relative. Yeah. It's delicious. It's easy. It's quick.
And you said you grew up eating those kind of like simple foods?
I grew up at like pretty poor. We would call them like struggle meals, like spaghetti. Spaghetti is just like a struggle meal, you know, like spaghetti with the chopped hot dogs, like that sort of thing. So we'd have that. I mean, it was delicious. Like honestly, like I cherish foods like that now in retrospect. I'm like, there's so much comfort in eating those things like that. So we'd also have, my mom would make something called special bread, and it'd be a slice of bread with butter on it. You fry it, and then you sprinkle cinnamon and sugar on it. When I tell you, so good. It's so simple. So simple.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And you can make a million. It's quick too. So if you're like feeding a bunch of feeding a lot of mouths, trying to save money, like, hey, special bread, grilled cheese, struggle spaghetti.
Oh my God, that description! I literally want it right now.
Yeah.
I'm getting goosebumps. I'm like, oh my God, like these little simple foods. I also grew up pretty poor. Like we're from Ukraine, and we came here in '96 with like literally whatever we could carry, you know. And so it was a wildly difficult time trying to survive here, especially because my parents didn't speak much English. And I also remember as a kid, like the lunch food my mom would give me cold hot dogs right out of the package. No mayo, no mustard,
wild.
Just slapped it between 2 pieces of whole wheat bread. And let me tell you what I would put my whole hand over the sandwich and put my other hand over the sandwich so that people wouldn't be able to see what I'm eating. Just so, so nobody could see me eating this weird wet bread and pale meat sandwich. I remember when we were back in Ukraine, my favorite thing was fresh bread, butter, and bologna.
Oh man.
So it feels like we're both a little bit talking about the accessibility element of bologna. Bologna being a great thing because it's so cheap. It's so like available to everyone. It's like apparently it's like the common food in school lunches. like because of this, like the I think so, the National School Lunch Program. So it's like that's like since the 40s. It's been the most popular thing.
Wow.
Which is wild, right? It's like it's so affordable and so easy made. Now, as a food that is referred to as a cheap food, it also has a stigma around it, right? It's a poor person's food. And I think that kind of ties to the movie we're talking about, because the movie's about a bunch of mountain man who are in the woods. They're out in, as people like to say, East Bumblefuck, I believe is the term they use. You know, but it's like rural people. What are they up to? They're in the woods. Don't go in the woods. It's scary. Weirdos live out there. What's the scary thing about this movie? What are we supposed to be scared of in this movie?
I would say getting eaten alive. Also they use I'm curious. Where did they use barbed wire a lot?
Yeah.
Where'd they get that?
Well, yeah.
Like they can't just march into town and buy barbed wire, right? Like that wasn't your question, but I just had a thought. What are we supposed to be? I don't know. It's terrified. You're like, got no cell service. Your Nokia phone is like on its last leg. Which rarely happens. That phone is invincible. Yeah,
days.
You're in the woods. You're scared. One of your friends is really dumb, because there's always the dumb one.
There's always
the dumb one.
God bless them.
God bless the dumb ones.
Do you think the getting lost is a big element of this movie?
Yeah, getting lost definitely is. And how the mountain men, you don't really see them at first. They kind of just like come out of nowhere and snatch you. Yeah, you can't really see them coming at the beginning.
So what's their deal? Who are these mountain people?
I think they're just hungry, man. Like they're in the woods too, and there's no grocery stores. They're like, I don't know. They're just out here eating people.
Yeah, because it's one of these things where like the movie's really fun. There are a lot of just like exciting things happening all the time. How are they going to get out of this peril? There's a lot of adventure in this movie. A lot of cool settings. A whole sequence that takes place up in the trees.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fun, A lot of hiding, a lot of trying to be quiet. It's all surrounded like about people being in the area where these like mountain people live.
Yeah.
We've been kind of referring to the sandwich as the Mountain Man Philly, which is I think is a fun name for this sandwich. But when we first found it online, it had a bit of a problematic title, which was called the Hillbilly Philly, which is a less than cute term for folks who maybe at a certain point, maybe this was a term that had just some specific regional thing that it's people who lived in the hills rather than the valleys. But now it's a term, it's more often a derogatory term. And it refers to people who live off the beaten path, live in the rural area, or are poor, you know?
Yeah.
And so I wonder if, like, how scary is this movie to someone who is from a rural region versus to someone who's from the city?
That's interesting. I think that someone who would be from an area like that, knowing the truth about it, would be like, oh, like, this is not how we are. But someone who has no experience with mountain men might have this notion in their head that people from over there are like, yeah. I think that happens a lot in film and TV when people tell other people how to feel about them.
It does strike me as a movie that probably had no one from a rural area who consulted on it.
Yeah, probably
I would say
not.
that. Like...
Yeah, and I was today years old when I didn't even know hillbilly was like a derogatory term.
Yeah.
I thought it was like a fluffy little fun kind of name because I have like my family is pretty country, so I always thought it was just like, just like country folk, but it's kind of turned into something else.
Where are you from? Like, did you grow up?
I was afraid you'd ask.
Oh my goodness.
Where mountain men hail?
Oh no.
No, I'm from. It's all a part of my master plan. No, I'm from Michigan, like rural Southwest Michigan. Like, so grew up like just kind of country, barefoot, playing in the dirt, playing in the sticks, running through the trees in the forest. That sort of life. I wouldn't say forest, but the woods.
The woods. Was there a lot of nature around you as a kid?
Yeah, a lot of nature. I mean, like I don't know if I can say this, but I felt like it was a lot of it was like, kind of like hillbilly-ish culture. Like I remember one time looking out my window and I saw this shirtless dude, cigarette hanging out of his mouth. And he's like carrying a raccoon. No, was it raccoon or it was either raccoon or like a really big turtle. He was carrying it by the tail, like walking down the like dirt shoulder in front of my house. And I don't know, I just thought it was cool. I never thought like anything about it. I'm just like, that's Michigan for you.
You're like, that guy's about to eat well.
Yeah,
Have
he
some
is.
turtle soup.
Forget it. You know how much turtle soup is?
Have some turtle fritters.
He's saving money. I'm not mad at him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, to me, it sounds like, my God, that sounds like so quaint. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, there's something about living in the city. You're so disconnected from.
Yes.
And it's of course everybody says that, but you're like, when you think about it, you're like, oh, it's some really like simple fundamental things. It's like, how often do you experience quiet? It's like silence, or a truly dark night sky.
Yeah.
Like actual fresh air. Like, it's interesting because these are things that I know that whenever I'm in nature, it's like synapses are firing off in my mind, being like, oh my God, look at this incredible, this incredible life. And it's stuff I take for granted. I don't really think about when I'm in my day-to-day life and living in the city. It's so interesting how it's become such a genre, such a trope, that if you city folk who go off into the woods, you're not gonna come out alive.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be safe. It's not gonna be good.
But it seems like a lot of them take place in the woods, right? Is that a thing? And someone's always running to the woods. Someone falls. Did someone? You know what? No one fell. Did anyone fall? I don't remember.
Not intentionally. Somebody did get shot in the calf.
Someone did get shot in the calf, but they didn't like trip.
No.
No one tripped.
No one tripped.
I'm writing a letter to the writers.
Wrong turn. You were really breaking new ground.
Progressive.
The woods are so scary to everybody.
Yeah, I find them really peaceful. Like lightning bugs, like hearing the birds. Like being in nature. I don't know. It just reminds you, I feel like how we're supposed to be in nature. When you like escape from the city and go there, you're like, oh yeah, this feels right. This feels good and peaceful and quiet.
100%. And it's so, and then you watch a movie like this and you're like, damn, well, this is written by a bunch of indoor kids. That's for sure.
Yeah. This was written by.
We're not going camping.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah.
The bugs will eat us.
They're the kind of people that glamp.
That's right. I was writing down some fun stuff. This is a movie that had a lot of kind of like.
What did it have? Tell the
you
people.
You see this? That's gonna come back. You see this?
Yes.
We're gonna have a callback.
Yes.
You see the shoe being taken off of this young man's foot as he's about to be sexy on the hood of a car.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna find that shoe later, and he's gonna be unsexy. Once we noticed the shoe, how often that was a thing, where you were like,
"Wait a minute.
Oh, wait a minute. I think that's gonna." Well, we had
the shoe.
So this is what they call in the storytelling biz, Chekhov's gun. If you want to know where that comes from, you should Google it.
Just Google it.
But the idea is, you see a gun in a movie, in a show, in Act 1, somebody's going to fire in Act 2. In this movie, we see a shoe get taken off a foot. We see a shoe later, and it means somebody's dead. We saw a quiver full of arrows.
We did.
We're like, gee, those arrows look real sturdy. Next thing you know, what was his name? What did the name we give him?
Which one?
Charles.
Charles. No S. Not Charles.
Okay, so we gave everybody names in this movie. So there's the one who chops people up with the axe. And that's...
Charles. Or is that Brick?
I think that's Brick.
Brick
breaks people.
Bricks people. That's right.
And there's one who's the crazy one. Malnourished. Giggling.
Silly
running
goose.
the really weird way.
He did
I'm
run
like,
a really
man, he's
weird
really
way.
maintaining his balance.
He's a silly guy, you know?
That one is...
Cuckoo.
That's Cuckoo.
Cuckoo.
Because you got a lot of cuckoo energy.
We got Brick. We got Cuckoo.
And...
Charles.
And we got Charles. Charles taking no prisoners.
None.
What else did we have? We had this couple where one dude just kept insisting on putting his hand over his girlfriend's mouth.
Don't do that, you guys. Don't do that.
Yeah,
Come
PSA.
on. PSA.
Don't put your... You know what? In fact, don't put your hand over anybody's
No,
mouth.
don't. That's freaking rude.
Seriously.
Were you raised by wolves with hands that covered your mouth?
Yeah, did wolves cover
Yeah, the
your
wolf.
your mouth?
I'm sorry. Anyway.
Have some respect. Well, this gentleman didn't have any respect, and Charles got him.
Charles
Three
got him.
times.
Charles really
3
did.
arrows.
Yeah, that sucks.
But
Tell
then
him.
his girlfriend, whose mouth he kept covering, bricked her with an axe through the mouth.
She got chopped.
That was wild.
She got chopped. Like, her whole face, like, got chopped in half.
Yeah, and it was like the axe stayed in the tree, so the top part of the face just kind of balanced on the axe blade, and the bottom part of the face and body just fell down the tree.
Gravity. Gravity.
Gravity. And gravity did the rest.
Gravity be like that.
all of these moments, these like, kills, all this stuff. They kind of give it a little bit more character.
Yeah. I was
And
gonna
that was the
say.
thing is like, there was a lot of character in this. Like anything was explained.
Not really. I mean, we do get a little backstory about why they were there, but that's really it. We don't even know where the blue Mustang guy was going, right?
No idea. Just know he was in a
He's
rush.
just stuck in traffic. He ends up in the mountains somewhere.
They started off the movie where he collides with the other car, and so that's how both of them get stranded out there.
Where were they going? I just want to know.
I don't know where he was going, but they were going camping because everybody's favorite early aughts, late 90s, Eliza Dushku. She apparently in this movie got dumped by a boyfriend, and all of these friends are taking her on a get over him camping trip of solidarity.
Yeah.
So that's the only. They were all out there just to support her.
That's why you don't support your friends through
Yeah,
a breakup.
if you take away anything from this podcast,
Don't support
Friends,
your friend.
not worth it.
No, it's not worth it.
Because
You will get chopped up.
This is what happens.
Yeah.
This is what happens.
Yeah.
But what was your reaction to like not having more backstory or not even like what were your takes on these like characters?
You know what?
Did you like them?
I actually enjoyed the movie. I really did. Like when a movie is so bad that it's good. It was like that, and I thought like with the Chekhov's gun kind of thing. Once we kind of noticed that, it did kind of enrich it. It was almost like I was expecting. I was like, "What's another? Like, are we gonna see another thing? Like, we're gonna see a ribbon, and then someone's gonna be wearing a ribbon in the next scene." So that was really fun. It was like an Easter egg. Yeah, it was nice. I think it was like the right amount of gore. If you're a chicken, I think this is something that won't stick with you.
Right.
Like you will forget about this.
I think you're right.
Like, you'll remember that you watched it, but you won't really remember anything about it. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. I mean, it's a good movie. That makes it sound like it's not, but I like it.
Well, there's it's got jarring moments, but then they don't really stick with you.
Yeah,
They're bad, but not that bad.
You're like,
it's like
oh.
It's like they cut away before it gets too much. Yeah,
they don't let it marinate. They don't let the fear marinate. It's like, be afraid of this. All right, next. Great. We got an hour and 18 minutes to get this done.
Yeah, my gosh, that I thought was like, bravo. They got this done in 80 minutes.
That's good. I like that length. Yeah, my attention span, can't do it. But that was brilliant.
I didn't miss any of that. I didn't miss the exposition. I didn't miss any character things. You know what I also didn't miss, funny enough, is that it's like I like doing this. I like doing this show because for a long time when I would do shows, I have a really good buddy who lives back out in Jersey and who would just always kind of like just pester me about the fact like we would go to see theater plays and it was like guaranteed, and this is just gonna make us sound like such rotten shits, but like 95% of things we saw we fucking hated. Just we're like, wow, what a bad show. But I am such a perpetual apologist / optimist that I'll be like, hey, you know what I think what they were going for? I think they were going for this. I think this big idea is what they were trying to make happen when these characters meet and when they discuss this thing. I think like, this is what they were going for. I'm like, they didn't achieve it, but here's just what they're going for. Like, this is my great hope for this like piece of art. And my friend would just be like, yeah, but like that's you making that up. That's you thinking, what if they had a better show, but they did a bad job? And this movie is super fun, but I like doing this show because I like to really dig deep and be like, so what's it about? What's underneath there? What's the diamond underneath there? And it's funny to think about this movie where I'm like, is there a deeper message? Is there a deeper thing? Because I know that this movie was remade, and now I'm like super curious.
Should we do a part 2?
I think we should. Like, it'd be great to like just get back on this and be like, whoa, part 2 was like talking about a lot of social issues. Part 2 was commenting on this and that. Because there is a bunch of movies that I think, by the way, in this podcast, I don't really talk about how movies or how sandwiches are made. I just like to talk about how they're experienced. So the experience of this movie, from my little bit, along with a little bit of my experience of watching other 90s and early aughts movies, is that a lot of those movies weren't really about anything. Just stuff happened, and it was like gross and exciting, But it's always interesting to think about, like what could be the deeper meaning.
I don't know about deeper meaning, but I can give a tip. Something that I learned if you are being chased by cannibalistic mountain folk, they enjoy a chase, you know? They really do like a chase. There's a scene where one of the characters is like, you guys, I'll be a distraction. And he like runs off into the woods.
Yes.
And then he gets shot in the leg. So the people are chasing him while one of the other characters is like running, you know, healthy as a bull.
Yeah.
Running, and they say, you know what, we're gonna go after him instead. That makes no sense.
Yeah,
so but that's something I learned. So I think maybe if you're with your friends like in the woods and you want to get away, just pretend to be injured, just like fake an injury, start limping, and they might chase your friends
They like
instead.
a healthy chase.
They like a healthy chase. They do.
Yeah.
So that's a tip. That's a tip.
Oh, I love that.
They are hard to kill. I would recommend a double tap. We talked about that. If you are going to try and take out a cannibalistic mountain
Come
man.
on, can't we? Can we just standardize a double tap?
Can we standardize a double tap? I think we should bring this to Congress. But no, yeah, definitely I would recommend a double tap.
Tap twice
Yeah.
and tap nice.
Tap, yes, exactly. I love it. That's our campaign slogan. They like a chase. They're hard to kill. They're pretty smart. They pickled. Did you notice they pickled body parts? And I'm thinking, like, what would be the most delicious, in your opinion? What would be the most delicious human body part? I've never asked anybody that on a weekend.
Oh my god.
No.
Ooh, on a Sunday?
Not on a Sunday.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
What
no.
is the most delicious part to pickle?
Yeah, like if you were to have to pick, like...
Because there's a lot of things you could pickle. I suppose if we're going to pickle something, maybe some kind of an inner organ.
I was going to say maybe
You
like
know?
the liver.
Like a liver.
Yeah.
Kidney. You know, something that's got already a lot of weird stuff in it.
A lot of weird stuff. Yeah.
And maybe the pickling process will really agree with it.
So much weird stuff, right?
I was like, well, do they really hate city folk? Do they really hate people trespassing? Or like they just love hunting? You're right, like they love a chase. It just made me think like, honestly, I think they're just here for a good time.
Yeah.
This is their version of having fun.
It is.
Not that I'm saying I'm empathizing with it, but I'm just
No,
sort of saying
no.
like, okay, well, so yeah, if that's your logic, then you're just gonna hunt
They're just gonna
a
hunt.
person if that's
yeah.
fun for you.
And Cuckoo, like, you could tell he was having a blast.
Because they are very capable. I don't think they're starving. And they've got pickled people's noses and ears,
Yeah.
lips. I don't know what they're pickling. Chins. Gross. And my gosh, that scene where they like find all the cars. I'm like, wow, this is a lot of cars.
Yeah.
So you're telling me there's all these cars, and there isn't a like a nature survey helicopter that flies by to make sure no forest fires are starting.
Yeah.
That hasn't noticed a big old clearing with just cars.
Yeah.
So I think we need a few more tips, and I think we both were observing that there are some bad omens that people could look out for.
Let's hear it.
What are some bad omens that you noticed?
A doll head.
Always a bad time.
Always a bad time. A doll head. What else?
A music box
Music box.
just
That's
happens
right.
to be there.
Record player.
Especially if the record is still playing. It's still spinning, but the music's not
There
playing.
was no music.
There was no music. It was just doing the...
Interesting.
I don't know. Is that what it sounds like on a
Yeah.
record? Of course, fridge full of jars should
Yes.
just very quickly steer you in the opposite direction. I mean, look, talk about bad omens. They walked into a house. Can you describe what is this house? What is going on in this home?
It was a rundown. Or maybe I shouldn't insult it. It was like, let's call it like shabby chic. You know? It was like shabby chic, dirty, natural floors, dust everywhere, accents of cobwebs, a weapon here, a weapon there. We saw a few axes. We had a execution table of sorts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what they use it for. Yep.
It could also have been used as a dining table.
Multi-purpose.
Multi-purpose. What else? I don't know. It's just like really creepy, dark vibes, dusty.
It is the kind of thing that a realtor would call has a lot of potential, but it definitely a fixer-upper.
Definitely a fixer-upper.
But
The
man,
view is...
But I mean, they walked into this house and the hand over her mouth all the time girl is like, I gotta use the bathroom. It's like, excuse me. There are literal pots on the floor with God knows what it's in them. There's weird food that has gone moldy. It literally looks like black sludge.
Yeah.
Somebody's left a pot boiling on the stove with what, eyeballs? What's in there? It's
Probably
just
eyeballs.
weird, like weird stuff.
That would be my
bubbling up.
guess.
Like nothing about this house looks appealing at all. Like I feel like like sometimes I feel like you walk into a place and you're just like, I'm gonna leave right now. It takes you 2 steps in and you're like, I shouldn't be here.
Time to go.
Okay. Well.
Yeah. To that point, like, yeah, when you see someone's house looks like that, can you imagine what the bathroom's gonna look like?
Yeah. What does she expect? Like, oh, heated floors.
Yeah, no, it doesn't get better in the bathroom. It always gets worse.
She goes in. The toilet doesn't have a toilet seat, but the mirror's like not fully cruddy. She's like able to like fix her hair. And,
Let me fix my edges.
and you're like, this is important right now.
They always seem to have those characters. Like, we've got the one that's like really dumb. We've got the horny couple. We've got like the really smart, brave one. And then we've got his kind of like badass potential love interest.
There's always some characters who are there just to be killed off as soon as possible.
It's like a pre-thing, like this is what's gonna happen to everyone else.
We need these to set the tone, so the other ones can go like, "Oh shit, something's wrong." Because these first two, they don't realize it until it's too late.
Yeah.
Honestly, there's something about this movie that I thought was really fun because it feels like pure escapism. Everything is physically placed in this reality. You know, it is just regular people like stuck in a weird area, but the rest of it seems unpredictable enough to be like, this wouldn't really happen. There are no inbred mutant cannibals living in the woods, which was, by the way, this is a random thing that you noticed on the IMDb that people keep being like, well, these inbred people, it's like, that's a complete, somebody just totally projecting that. That wasn't even at all discussed in the movie.
No,
so
it wasn't.
Again, it's like one of these things was just like, these are the things we're meant to find unappealing and scary. Honestly, I am kind of hooked to watch the whole entire. There's like 3 of them before they remade it, I think.
There's 3. Oh no! Don't tell me that.
Before they remade it, yeah.
Yeah.
And the movie's called Wrong Turn. It feels like very poetic. It's like one wrong turn, and you're in the middle of Cannibal Mountain People country. You're like, whoa.
And you're in the middle of the boonies. Yeehaw!
Do you feel like this movie? I feel like this is a stupid question because I feel like I know what the answer.
I love it already.
Yeah.
What is it?
Do you feel like this movie paints a bad picture of people in the rural areas that
Yes.
like
100%. 100%. It really does. I don't think that rural people are cannibals. I'm not a cannibal. I grew up in a rural area. I would never eat anyone unless No, I would never do that.
Unless what?
Unless what? What are you talking about? Where am I?
India. If you were making this movie and you flipped it, instead it's told from the perspective, not from the cannibals, but from perspective of a rural person. What's like a rural person's horror scenario that has to do with city folk?
Oh my gosh, I love this. Okay, I'm visualizing like this is not the first time city slickers made their way into this rural area, right? Yes. And there's like a daughter, and she's like, I gotta protect my family from these people who are trying to bring electricity because she lost her parents in an electric fire in the city. So she moved to the country to be safe. And that's all I got. So maybe they're trying to keep their like quiet, simple country life. And these city slickers are like, we need a Verizon tower right here in front of this beautiful mountain. And the mountain people are like, you're not obstructing my view. I don't know. I'm sorry.
Wow, there are 2 really big fears here. One is like environmental terrorism. Is
environmental terrorism.
And the other one's like the electric fire.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Was that
childhood trauma?
Did that answer your question?
That's great. Oh my god, so funny. It makes me wonder, like people who are in a more rural area or just closer to nature. I wonder if a lot of their anxieties or fears stem from the sort of things that outsiders can ruin about the natural habitat.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. They're like, I feel like they'd be more, like, to be resistant to the change. Like, this is how we've always done it. This is how it's always worked.
And I think, because, like, Antonia and I spent a little bit of time in North Carolina, which is pretty far south, but not, it's not deep South as some people. A lot of people are like, "No, you're not in the South until you get to Georgia." And it's like, all right, okay, really,
Whatever.
I'm from New England, so. But I did also get this like sense that there's a lot of this mentality of like outsiders, insiders. There's a lot of ways that conversation breaks down, because sometimes it's about culture, sometimes it's about generation, sometimes it's political, social things, but sometimes it seems to have a more like a kind of a more hands-on thing, where like outsiders will literally, if they start coming through here, they'll bring pollution where there isn't any pollution yet. They'll flatten, wild grass that's here that has not been flattened here because outsiders hasn't around here. It's a little bit more like, sometimes it feels like we've always done it this way. Is not necessarily the sign of somebody being like obstinate to change, or like being sort of stuck in their way. Sometimes it just feels like it has some really great value and wisdom.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. How do we get that?
Oh my
How
gosh.
do we get that out of this?
From Wrong Turn.
No, yeah, I love that. I love that. I feel like if we talk to the creators of Wrong Turn, they're just gonna be like, "Oh no, I just had a dream about it. It is what it is."
I was just like, what if this one dude had
What
like
if?
two nostrils and
Yeah.
it looked like he had two noses? You know what I mean?
That'd be wild.
That'd be cool.
But like hearing you talk about that, it made me think about like gentrification, like protecting like the natural habitat, like these wild grasses, and you city slickers coming in with your Starbucks and your Hummers. Is that a 2003 car?
Oh my god!
Right?
Big time.
Okay.
Big time.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the car that you're like, whoa.
Whoa, that's a lot of gas.
Yeah. But the remake came out like 3 years ago.
Okay.
2020.
So it's recent. I'm curious to see what it would be like.
So I think the sequels all happened before 2010.
Oh dear God.
So they just came out with a bunch.
That means it's got to be good.
It's
It's gotta be good.
But I love that. I love that you just don't need to take it that seriously.
Yeah,
Which I
yeah.
think is kind of fun.
Yeah, you can't take it seriously. You can't.
You can't.
Oh, I
no.
wanted to something I found on Wikipedia about the stereotype of a hillbilly. So the stereotype is twofold, and that incorporates both positive and negative traits. Hillbillies are often considered independent and self-reliant individuals who resist the modernization of society, which we kind of talked about.
Yeah.
And then, but at the same time, they're also defined as backward and violent. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the positive trait. That's cool.
Yeah.
They were really resourceful. They're really smart. They were hard to kill. I was kind of rooting for them in some scenes, especially when it was like the dumb girl,
Right,
like
right.
the pea girl with the ponytail.
The pea girl with the ponytail.
Pea girl.
Honestly, her boyfriend too, I was just like,
You guys stop being in love right now. Like
yeah, I was like, you're
it's-
not really contributing much here. You seem to be just super anxious.
Yeah.
And bringing up random stuff. And yeah, you're right. Charles, his aim's real good.
His aim was so good.
So good.
3 arrows to the back. Bop, bop, bop.
Yeah. I mean, if that was a bullseye on there, on that boyfriend's back, at least, I think at least 2 of those arrows would have been in a bullseye.
At least.
And the other one would have been just on the edge. You would have been impressed.
Yeah.
I mean, I was impressed.
And he was moving too. Moving target.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. Resourceful, living off the land.
And then the resistance of the modernization.
Yeah, that was...
Which is not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Because they relied on refrigerators for their pickled stuff. They relied obviously on gasoline for their big truck.
Yeah.
But it seemed like it's like very minimal things.
It was almost like a Mennonite sort of thing. Like it's Amish adjacent, but like we do use gas or like we do use lights. I don't know, or some sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like it's like a sprinkle of modern.
Yeah, we're
modernity.
just taking a little bit. Okay, this convenience we can use that. The rest seems frivolous. Wasteful.
Yeah, wasteful.
Yeah.
And they didn't waste a single human part.
I had no doubt in my mind that they were gonna eat and kill everybody. I knew that they had it in them. I was like, these guys will survive. You guys need to outrun these mountain peoples because they're not gonna stop. They're really good at this.
Yeah, they are. It's not their first rodeo.
No, and that was kind of interesting just to be like, well, they're really good at this horrible thing.
Yeah.
Not for nothing. You have to be like, wow, okay, that's and what it's like when you see a tiger chase down a
Gazelle.
gazelle. You're like, poor gazelle, but you're like, that tiger really hauled ass. Really knows what
Hold
they're
ass
doing.
on that gazelle.
So shout out to those outdoors folks out there, you know?
They're the ones to be.
So, India, let's wrap it up.
Okay.
I love to wrap up these episodes with a section that is one of my favorite in every episode, which is best bite, best fright. India, what was your best bite of sandwich, best fright of wrong turn?
Best bite of sandwich. What's the first bite? You know, you'll always remember your first. Always remember your first horror movie. Wrong turn. Always remember your first bite of a Mountain Man sandwich. My favorite moment in Wrong Turn. Let's see. I'm going to say when our hero, he fired a rifle into the burning cabin and, and it exploded.
Yeah.
Yeah. All that movie needed was an explosion.
One big explosion.
They delivered. They delivered. That was cool. That was a good moment.
Yeah. I love that. I think for me, so I had a little pepper jack cheese on one of mine. So for me, I think I like the second bite of that. Because at first I was like, ooh, there's a lot going on. But the second bite I was like, oh, I'm hitting the hot sauce. I'm hitting the spice of the pepper jack. And the mayo is just kind of worked in. And on that one, all of my chips were still very crunchy. And I was like, oh, this is a whole other thing. That was really great. And with the classic Lay's, it was the first bite. I was like, wow. I had crushed the chips a little bit harder on that one. And so they all crumpled more. And I think I crushed it first. So I had more time to really incorporate.
You have this down to a science, and I
So
love it.
It's just like, ooh, like a smooth, I don't know, like a remoulade.
Oh, like who is she?
Oh my God. What? King of culinary podcasts. Yes, hello. India, that was a great answer. Love it. India, I love this conversation. This is so great. Oh my God.
I know.
would love to have you back on the podcast to discuss more Wrong Turn.
Yeah. Wrong Turn 2.
Wrong
Turned
Turn
wrong
2.
again. I don't know.
Wronger still.
Wronger still.
It keeps getting
love
wronger. They can't seem to turn in the right direction.
They can't.
When will they stop driving?
Whoa, 2 wrongs make a wrong.
That should be like the
another
third one is
Yeah,
2
the third
wrongs
one.
make a wrong.
2 wrongs make a wrong.
Turn 3, 2 wrongs make a wrong.
Thanks for having me. It's been great.
It's such a
really
pleasure. India, for folks who want to follow your work, and where could people get in touch with you or see your work? Or do you have any prizes coming up that you want to shout out?
When something exciting happens, I will probably post it on the gram.
Ooh, we love the gram.
What's the gram? I'm glad you asked.
Yeah.
Instagram.
That's right. Gram stands for Instagram.
For all you fellow millennials. No, I'm kidding.
Hey, boom booms.
Hey, boom booms. Hey, boomies.
Hey, boomies.
Oh, that's why they call us chuggy, huh? Because
what?
the Gen Zs, they call us chuggy. We're getting off topic. Anyway, yes.
Chuggies? Oh,
Chuggy.
like it.
Yeah, it's a
Wow.
thing that the Gen Zs are calling us.
What?
Anyway, that's,
Sounds cute, honestly.
and it's like a little. I feel like it's like a little
Chuggy.
dog. Like
Yeah,
a
it sounds
little
like
chuggy.
a Furby.
Yeah. New horror movie, Chuggy's Attack.
Chuggy's Attack.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The Gen Z's worst nightmare.
Oh my God.
And they know all the terms. This latte is mid.
Oh my gosh, this latte's mid.
So what's your gram?
It's at India Like the Country with 2 Y's, the whole sentence.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's like INDIALIKETHECOUNTRYY. But I wasn't. Look, I'm not the original. I'm so upset. That's why I have double Y's.
You're not the original. That's so funny.
Dang, somebody was funnier than me.
And India Like the Country with 2 Y's in the country.
Yep, 2 Y's in the country.
Incredible. All right, follow India. Find her on the gram. She's always got something amazing that she's working on. Huge thank you to Besties Vegan Paradise at East Hollywood. They've got such an incredible selection. Honestly, like steak, pork chop substitutes. Like they've got like sausages and like salumis, like fancy cheeses, all these like non-dairy substitutes. It's fascinating. They've got so many vegan products and ice creams.
Okay, I'm on my way. I gotta go.
Okay. It's such a cool spot because it's laid out like just a regular like tiny little corner convenience store, like a tiny little bodega, and it's got all of the things you would want to find in a little bodega, but it's just all
But it's vegan.
vegan.
Insane.
Yeah, that's
love
really
that.
cool. And I feel like they've like a pretty wide range of like prices. Like so you could get something that's like really expensive and something that's like and some other stuff that's like very reasonable. And they also have like a frozen produce section as well. So Besties, you got it going on. All of you listening and watching, you got to get yourself over to Besties.
Go to
The
Besties.
Vegan Paradise.
Paradise.
Vegan Paradise.
Vegan Paradise.
Besties.
Besties.
India, you're just such a joy, and you're such a just warm and generous person. It's so cool to have you on. Please join us next week on the Scary Movie and a Sandwich podcast. And until then, stay hungry and stay scared.
Ooh, spooky.
So spooky.
Yikes.
Oh my God.
Don't get blood on my hair.
Ow, is it blood?
I just showered.
Not when I just showered.